Gemini, hello. Welcome to your 2019 extensive horoscope with me, Marina. Today we are going to talk about the most important events, astrological influences for you during 2019. We are going to talk also about more detailed information. Of course, we are going to start with the more significant things like Jupiter and Saturn, the lunar nodes, the dates of the eclipses during the whole year, the impact of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, for your sign. And of course, this video is for everyone with the sun or ascendant in Gemini. So whether you have your sun or ascendant sign in Gemini, this video is for you. After we discuss this information, basically that's the general information, the most important, the most powerful energies. After that, we are going to talk about other important details like Mercury retrograde. Mercury is the ruler of your sign, so for you, those periods are extremely important. We're going to discuss concrete periods and dates and how those periods may affect you, how to prepare for them. We are going to talk about also the transits of Mars and the Sun, which shows you periods and areas where you can be more active, when you can take action, do things, initiate things. And at the end, we are going to talk about the most pleasant part, the transits of Venus. They will give you the dates and also the life areas where you can be really happy, where you can be really supported, or you can receive gifts, or you may feel more love. So we know that Venus is one of the benefactors. So that's why the end of this video will basically elevate you even more and prepare you for some really exciting and positive events. Plus, there are some really positive combinations which we are going to discuss at the end of the video. So as you can see, it will take a while because we have many things to cover, but this information will really prepare you for next year. So I hope you have enough time to join me now, or you can always come back and listen to the different details and information and check whenever you need to, remind yourself something important. The videos will be available on my channel. Of course, we are going to record a different video for each sign, so don't forget also to watch your sun and ascendant sign as well. And one more thing before we dive deep into those interesting topics. Don't forget that the 2019 astrology calendar is ready. If you want to be prepared, if you want to know the heliacal phases of the planets for each day, also aspects and their interpretation, ingressions of planets, eclipses, and more information, you're welcome to purchase the calendar from the link below. At the end of the video, I will share more information about it. But now let's start with the most important part. Great news for next year is that numerologically the year is ruled or equals 3. 3 is the number which in astrology is presented by Jupiter. And we always like to hear about Jupiter because this is the great benefactor. This is the planet which can bring you success, opportunities, prosperity, growth. So whenever we hear about Jupiter affecting something, we expect positive manifestations. During 2019, what's even more positive is that actually Jupiter itself is going to be extremely strong. Jupiter will be in Sagittarius until December 2019, which is the sign of its rulership. So Jupiter from one side has a very strong impact on all of us during 2019, plus this impact is extremely positive because Jupiter also can be, more generous with us at certain periods when the sign is strong. In other periods, it's not so beneficial, but this time we are really lucky. Now, of course, it depends on where exactly Jupiter will fall in your natal chart, and that will give you more information where specifically you can be more successful or where you can expect the positive manifestation. And for you, Gemini, The great news is that during 2019, Jupiter will be in your 7th house. This is great because, first of all, 7th house is a cardinal house. Whenever something positive triggers a cardinal house, just a quick reminder, the cardinal houses are 1st, 7th, 4th, and 10th. These are the periods when something major may happen in your life. And with Jupiter entering your 7th house, basically you have the ruler of this sign coming back home, so to speak. That's why you can expect something very, very positive in regards to the area of relationships and partnerships. Just a quick reminder that this is a transit which happens once in 12 years. So this is not something regular, let's say once or twice a year, which will come and go. This is something long lasting. 1 year is a lot of time and happens once in 12 years. This is great news for everyone who would like to communicate with more people. Of course, the most popular explanation or interpretation of 7th house is the area of marriage and romantic relationships. And of course, in this case, you can expect that Jupiter will bring you opportunities to have a new romantic relationship or to improve your current relationship. Many people may also get married or may receive a proposal, and that's great, of course. But don't forget that 7th house also represents all kinds of close communications with other people. Your closest friends are also represented by 7th house. So this positive transit actually may improve relationship with friends or may help you to create new friendships. And also this might be related to business partnerships, especially if you are working with other people. For example, if you're some kind of consultant, or let's say that you work in front of an audience, if you are a popular person, even it doesn't mean that you have to be famous, but if you depend on others, for example, like my job, I depend on you as an audience, you know, I need to interact with other people in order to do my job. So in my case, for example, 7th house is very important for my job. So if you also work in, not necessarily, you know, online, but if you work with others, if you're a consultant, or if you need others to appreciate, for example, your work, or you're an artist, this transit may actually be positive also for your career, may bring you more clients, or may bring you clients who have more opportunity to pay, because, you know, Jupiter brings prosperity. So the people which you are going to meet will probably be successful. And the same is true also about the relationships that you can build. Of course, you have to analyze the natal chart. It doesn't mean that everyone will attract, you know, a rich partner, but for many people, this might be the case. You may have a successful relationship, or also this transit may affect positively your partner, meaning that something positive might happen in his life. For example, he may have a promotion or career growth or something else which is positive for him and also affecting you. So in one way or another, Jupiter will help you to benefit from communicating with other people, whether this will be your audience, whether this will indicate popularity. For example, for some artists, this transit may bring more popularity for their work. For other people, this may bring new relationships, proposal for marriage, or improvement in your current marriage. For example, if there is a distance between you and your partner, especially keeping in mind that during the past few years, Saturn was in 7th house, which sometimes, you know, can bring possible distance. Now, Jupiter may actually heal the relationship. Another thing which we also need to mention, Jupiter in 7th house doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, everything will remain the same in this area of your life. Sometimes Jupiter may bring also separations, but the difference is that usually those separations are easier, meaning that, you know, there are no procrastination. For example, you're separated and still living together, and, you know, there are some of those difficult separations. I think we all know those, you know, people who go through certain events. With Jupiter in 7th house, if you're in an unhappy marriage, if you're frustrated with your relationship, this transit may give you or may bring you a happy separation. So also something that many people may actually be happy about. Okay, so the next thing which is very important, also Saturn, the other social planet. And here we have to mention both of the social planets, Jupiter and Saturn, are extremely strong during the whole 2019 because they are in the signs of their rulerships. The last time it has happened was during 1959. So not something which happens so frequently. And I think that this is a very good starting point for all of us, especially in terms of social projects, in terms of materialization of our dreams. Of course, with Saturn being very strong, it means that we have to work hard. But at the same time, it's important, of course, which area of your life or your horoscope is affected by Saturn. This time, during 2019, Saturn will be in your 8th house. Now, the good news is that Saturn won't make major aspects with your sun or ascendant sign. Basically, 8th house or Capricorn doesn't have a direct major aspect with Gemini. If we have to be exact, the aspect is a quincunx, but this is not a major aspect. So from one side, this is positive, which means that, Saturn won't be testing you so harshly, but you still need to be more careful in regards to mutual finances. 8th house represents basically everything which connects us with other people through some kind of resources, energy, psychologically, emotionally. And when Saturn is in your 8th house, I think that one of the major lessons for you is to become more independent. Because if you have noticed, people with a very strong 8th house in their chart, especially women, especially with the sun in 8th house, on certain level, they depend on others, energetically, emotionally, financially. Even if you don't have planets in your 8th house, with Saturn there, and I'm, also moving ahead by telling you that the South Node is there as well. So having Saturn and the South Node both in your 8th house means that you have to cut this type of unhealthy connection with others if you have certain pattern. And it means that, first of all, you have to try to be financially more independent. You have to rely more on your own efforts, on your own finances, and also to, cut people who are toxic, people who are a bad influence, so to speak. Many people have problems, for example, with forgetting their ex-partner or, certain bad memory. Saturn in 8th house may help you to finally make that step. And as I said, the other thing which is very important is not to rely on financial support from others. Even if that's your partner, even if he has great intentions and he wants to support you, for you, the better choice is to focus on building up your own financial independency. And Saturn in 8th house may also bring certain fears from the surface. 8th house is, probably the most complicated, or at least one of the really complicated houses in the chart. And with Saturn there, things may get a little bit messy. So, for example, you may need to face with some kind of fears and finally overcome them. You may need to become more realistic about the things that you are afraid of, which will help you actually to set free from those patterns. Also, Saturn in 8th house requires you to be very careful with credits. If you're taking money from bank institutions or other people or some kind of, investors, be very careful. This area may also be more challenging. And generally, we can say that this is not the best period for you to take credits. Sometimes, if you have worked really hard for that, if you feel like you're really, financially stable, Saturn may help to materialize things. So for some people, this might be an option, but I would say that it's important to find out also the other influences and all of the aspects that Saturn will make with your other planets. But generally speaking, you need to be more careful. in regards to mutual finances, financial support, or investments, even your own investments in someone else's business, for example. Just try to, be patient, be very practical about your decisions. Don't rush things too much. And the most important part actually is to focus on the opposite house, second house. The reason is because the North Node is in the transit North Node, of course, is in your second house. And by the way, we have to remember that the South Node has a very similar influence to Saturn. So it shows you area where you might feel tested, where there might be possible challenges. And also, it's important, areas where you need to let go of something, to give up from something. On the other hand, the North Node has a very similar influence to Jupiter, which means that it shows you area where you can grow, area where you can be more successful, where actually it would be positive for you to focus more. And the North Node in second house, first of all, means that you need to be more practical during this year. From a more, occult perspective, eighth house is related more to invisible stuff, to energy, or if you will, to the invisible world in general. Second house, on the other hand, is about the things that you can see around you, the reality as it is, the real world. So one of your main tasks during 2019 is to remain stable and focused on concrete stuff, on practical stuff, without dreaming too much, without, unrealistic expectations, just to rely on, things that you can measure, to focus on achieving practical, stable results. This is very important. And of course, for some people, this might be easier than for others, but the effort is the most important. So try to put conscious efforts in this direction. Speaking of practical things, of course, we need to mention finances. Second house is about your own personal finances, the money that you earn with your own efforts. So for many of you, Gemini, this might be a great year when you can really work on your financial independence, when you may have the opportunity to grow in this area, to be more successful. But again, I remind you that you have to do that by your personal efforts. So don't expect someone else to, help you. Try to do that with your own efforts. Okay, let's see. And one more thing also about second house is that this house is also related to our energy. And that's why it affects our health. So this position of the North Node in your second house may also help you to work on your physical energy, to feel healthier, to feel more balanced. Generally, eighth and second house, this axis is about exchange of energy, including finances. Money is an energy as well. But generally, how much you take and how much you give. One of the most important things for you is to balance this during this year. And of course, the eclipses will bring those opportunities as well. Just a quick reminder that basically the eclipses are new moons or full moons, which also include the lunar nodes. That's why those events are considered to be karmic and fateful and very important. So here we can see the dates. Basically, we have 4 eclipses during 2019. The first one is at the very beginning, solar eclipse on the 5th of January. The exact degree is 16 degrees Capricorn, falls in your 8th house, which also means that the South Node is part of the eclipse, because the South Node is in Capricorn as well. So this might be a time when you need to, face with the past in some way, and also to let go of something. For example, if you have some kind of credit, if you owe money to other people, try to fix that. Try to return as much as you can to others and to, well, try to clear everything if possible. If not, then do the best that you can. Try to keep, you know, your promises, or to be accurate in according to bank institutions, for example. So try to let go of something which is, you know, pulling you back. For example, for some people, this might be cutting off a toxic relationship, toxic sexual relationship as well. Eighth house represents that as well. Or, for example, stop relying on other people's support or finances. And the same eclipse will happen also at the end of 2019, the 26th of December. We have another solar eclipse also in Capricorn, but this time 5 degrees. And by the way, pay attention, guys, if you have any cusp of a house or maybe a planet close to those degrees, or making major aspect with your planets, it will show you that those events might be really important for you. And the same we can say about this eclipse also includes the south node, also time to let go of something, to give up from something, to be really accurate in terms of, you know, your financial obligations in front of others and so on. Now, the other solar eclipse which we have is on the 2nd of July, another solar eclipse, the third one, and this eclipse is 11 degrees in Cancer. This eclipse will include the North Node, which makes generally the eclipse more positive, because the North Node shows you a new direction. It can, you know, give you an idea what the future brings to you or what you should focus on. So this is a very important eclipse for you. It will fall in second house, which means that finances, material stability might be very important. And actually, you may put the beginning of something important, which will help you to be even more stable and more independent financially. So again, I will repeat, the 2nd of July is the solar eclipse, 11 degrees Cancer. 2 weeks after that, the 16th of July, we have the only lunar eclipse for the year, 24 degrees Capricorn and Cancer. Check if you have something close to those degrees. The lunar eclipse will affect 8th house and 2nd house. So basically, it requires from you to find the balance, the thing that we talked about already. The balance between how much you are taking, how much you are giving, exchange of energy. For many people who have problems with that, with exchanging the energy, allowing new things to come, the old to go, if you have a problem with that, usually it affects also your health. For some people, this may bring, I won't discuss actually because that's very personal, but keep in mind, if you manage to balance this, the exchange of energy, you will improve also your health. So I believe this is enough motivation to, you know, focus on that and really do the best that you can. Okay, so these are the 4 eclipses during 2019. Don't forget that you are not influenced only on those dates. Actually, the eclipse may have an impact in about your life for between 6 months, in some cases even a couple of years. Of course, not for everyone the same, but these are important events, so don't neglect them. Okay, so next we are moving to the other important part, the impact of the 3 outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Here I want to mention something fundamental. The impact of those 3 planets is not the same for everyone having their sun or ascendant in Gemini, because the outer planets are moving really slow. So as you can see, for example, Pluto will be between the 20th and the 23rd degree in Capricorn. So as you can see, it won't make exact aspects with many people and their planets. They're actually a smaller part of the population. Also Neptune, 5 degrees through the zodiac for the whole year. Uranus a little bit more, around 9, I believe, yes, between the 28th and the 7th. So here the most important question is to find out if one of those 3 planets will make a major aspect with certain planet in your chart, especially if that's the sun or the moon, of course, or your ascendant. And if that's the case, For example, let's say that Neptune squares your Sun. This will be the most important aspect for you during the whole year. No matter what the other planets say, or Mercury retrograde or Jupiter or Saturn, here is the strongest impact. The other planets are the one which can change your life. And here I want to mention, especially when people have challenging aspect, many people are afraid, they are worried what it will bring. Also, we have to remember that those aspects are long lasting. If you have one of the outer planets triggering certain planet in your chart, it lasts between 2-3 years. And keep in mind that those influences are the one which can change your life. And the challenging aspects are the one which brings the most significant changes. Changes when you can move to the next level, when you can get out of your comfort zone and do something really significant, happen when you have impact from the outer planets, especially challenging, conjunction or square or opposition. So don't be afraid if that's the case. It only means that the period is very important for you. You have to be very conscious, and you have to learn how to process this energy. The worst thing that we can do is to try to resist those energies, or to think that we can control them. That's impossible. You have to learn to channel this energy and to use it in the most productive and positive way. Otherwise, things may get out of control. And of course, it really depends on your personality, on your whole birth chart, on the other influences of planets, but generally these are really significant periods. Now, about Uranus, Uranus won't affect you so significantly during 2019 unless you have other planets which are affected by these degrees. At the beginning of the year, Uranus is 28 degrees in Aries, which is in your 11th house. Actually, if you have your Sun or Ascendant sign around those degrees, let's say 27, 29 degrees, 30 degrees in Gemini, Uranus will make sextile, positive aspect with your Sun or Ascendant. So this energy may actually be very exciting, may bring you more variety, some exciting opportunities, some positive changes which are not so stressful or shocking. So generally, we expect positive manifestation here. After that, around March, Uranus will enter Taurus, and by the end of the year, it will be around the 7th degree in Taurus. Now, for you, this is your 12th house, which may not necessarily bring something material, something measurable. For spiritual work, this might be an interesting aspect, especially when Uranus crosses the cusp of your house. For example, if you're a cusp of if the cusp of your 12th house is here around those first few degrees of Taurus, this might be an interesting period as well, especially for spiritual work, for some kind of, for some people, this might be very enlightening. But generally speaking, usually this is not a life-changing transit. Now, on the other hand, with Neptune, things are completely different. During 2019, Neptune will be between the 14th and the 19th degree in Pisces. So if you guys have your ascendant here between the 13th and the 20th degree in Pisces, or if your sun is between the 12th and the 21st degree in Pisces, which means around the middle, the second third of the Pisces season, then Neptune will square your sun or ascendant, 90-degree aspect. This is considered to be a challenging aspect. And as I told you a couple of minutes ago, this is one of those aspects which can change your life. So don't be afraid if you see that. This is something which is very rare. Let's see. So for Neptune, it takes around 165 degrees to go through the whole zodiac. So it means that it can make one square with your sun or ascendant during your lifetime, for most of us. So once in a lifetime transit. very transformative. Yes, it might be challenging. Yes, you may feel confused. Yes, it may bring some kind of, it can make you actually really, um, can affect your connection with the material world. And this might be a problem because we mentioned that with the North Node in your second house currently, you need to stay in touch with reality. So if you have this aspect, Neptune squaring your sun or ascendant sign, you have to put some conscious efforts to be more grounded. There are certain practices like meditations, physical exercises that are very important, certain gemstones, connecting with the nature, but you have to focus on building up this inner stability. For some people, this might be the time when, for example, they need to make a very significant sacrifice. Neptune may require that. For other people, this might be a time of incredible inspiration. For spiritual practices, this is a great combination. Neptune making major aspect with your sun or ascendant, but at the same time may bring major shifts. For example, you change your belief system. Some people may change their religion or their attitude towards religion. So many spiritual topics might be important. It's possible to feel confused, to feel lost, to feel unmotivated, especially for really young people. For example, I have seen teenagers with those type of aspects. For them, it might be quite challenging. But the more conscious you are, the more mature you are, the better chances you have to, handle better with those energies. And keeping in mind that Neptune is in 10th house, also this may bring possible challenges in career. This may bring situations which are, let's say, confusing. For some people, there might be possible illusions which might be, which may fall apart. So don't rush yourself. My advice during such transits is, first of all, to take your time, to accept the fact that now things are different, now you are different, and you shouldn't try to be, something which you are not. So try to respect those energies. Try to practice some spiritual practices or something creative, something related to art might help you to get out of this situation. And the end of the transit might be easier for you, actually. I think that at the beginning we feel, well, surprised, we feel more lost or confused. At the end of the transit, you may realize that you are a new person, and that's always positive. Okay, so enough about Neptune, but again, I repeat, if you have this aspect, this will be the major impact for you during the year. Okay, next we have Pluto. Pluto, as we said, will be between the 20th and the 23rd degree in Capricorn in your 8th house, and it doesn't make major aspect with Gemini. So for many people, actually, this may not be a remarkable transit. It will be remarkable if you have the cusp of your house here between those degrees, between the 19th and the 24th degree in Capricorn. Then this might be remarkable. This may bring serious transformations or intense experiences, but that's more an exception of the rule. For most of the people with their sun or ascendant in Gemini, this won't be such a significant transit. Okay, guys, so I think that we've covered the most important part. We talked about Jupiter, Saturn, the lunar nodes, Neptune. These are the most important stuff. Of course, for some people, Uranus may have impact. Pluto, the solar and the lunar eclipses are important as well. So now we can move to the other part. Okay, here we have Mercury retrograde to discuss, the ruler of your sign. Okay, so before we talk about Mercury retrograde, we're going to talk about Mars. Mars is very important because that's the planet which represents our personal will. So basically, the transits of Mars bring you incredible energy. They bring you, well, ability to impact certain area of your life, to put effort, to be more competitive, to feel stronger, to take action. That's the key word about Mars, taking action. So those transits, Mars transits, will show you where you can put effort, where you can achieve results with your efforts. That's why they are important. At the beginning of the year, Mars is very strong in Aries, and basically until the 13th of February, it will be in your 11th house. So this is a very positive period for social activities, social projects, working with other people or with friends or with certain community that you are part of. So basically, mostly affects your social communication or something that you're doing together with other people. After that, from the 14th of February until the 30th of March, the transit Mars will be in your 12th house. When Mars is in 12th house, this is a more passive period. This is the time when you need to recharge a little bit, when you need to slow down. You may feel unmotivated or tired or sometimes lazy. Those things happen to all of us sometimes. So don't rush yourself. Take your time, relax, focus on doing something on your own, something which is important for you personally, not necessarily visible for others. And after that, the big shift will come here when Mars enters Gemini between the 31st of March and the 14th of May. Mars will be in your own sign, which means a new beginning. This is a transit which happens once in 2 years. So quite a remarkable transit, which can help you to take action, to start new things, to feel braver, to feel more confident. So here it is important to do something. Because if you remain passive or you don't do something, Mars can actually, the negative side of Mars is that it can bring some anger issues, some confrontations, can make you really impatient. Of course, it depends on your personality, but try to be, more, to use the energy for something constructive, because Mars can help you to do that. After that, from the 15th of May until the 30th of June, Mars will be in Cancer in your second house. This is a great time to focus on practical things, on your finances, on your financial independence. Now, this is important that the transit Mars will join the North Node while it is in Cancer. So between the 15th of May, the 30th of June, which means that you may have a clearer idea what you should do. You, with your own efforts, actually, you can achieve something positive. So my suggestion is to focus on practical stuff, on finances, on improving your income during this 45-day period. After that, from the 1st of July until the 17th of August, Mars is in your third house. This is the time when you can focus more on communication, on connections with others, on learning and education. Also a great time for traveling, especially, for something active, something which will, charge you with energy. And also you may do something to improve your skills. New training, some kind of course, or whatever you feel like will help you to improve your skills in an important area. After that, from the 18th of August until the 2nd of October, Mars will be in your fourth house. This is also a time when you may focus on more personal stuff, something about your home, something about your family, doing something together with family members or for them, or fixing something at home, or like some kind of reconstructions, for example. So more focus on personal stuff, not so much on social projects and activities. After that, a very positive period when Mars is in your 5th house between the 3rd of October and the 18th of November. 5th house is one of my favorite houses because it represents everything that we love. Starting from our love life, our romantic life, our children, creativity, desire to express ourselves. Also, when Mars is here in Libra, it will make trine with your sun or ascendant, with Gemini, which is also very supportive to do something. You may feel supported in some way. You may feel more motivated. So very, very positive part of the year. And the last transit of Mars between the 19th of November and basically until the end of 2019, until January 2020, Mars is in your 6th house. This is time to focus more on work, on responsibilities and obligations, but also to be active in those areas. For example, some people may start new career projects for business. This is a very positive transit. Also, to do something for your health. Now, keep in mind that if generally your health is more sensitive, Mars in 6th house may require more attention. Of course, not for everyone, but sometimes this may bring higher chances for some kind of traumas or some kind of, short-lasting uh, illnesses, like, for example, a flu, something with high temperature. They are all ruled by Mars. So here you have to be more careful about your health. But at the same time, it is a positive time to do something actually to improve your health. Maybe start a new physical exercises or some kind of health regime. Anything which will help you to improve your health with your own efforts. Okay, so next we have Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde, which is very important for all of us, of course, but for you specifically, this is even more significant because that's the ruler of your sign. And it means that those periods, those retrograde phases actually are more important for you than for anybody else. And also for Virgo, which is the other sign ruled by Mercury. 3 retrograde phases of Mercury. March between the 5th and 27th. Mercury will be retrograde in Pisces between the 30th and the 17th degree. So pay attention if you have a cusp of a house, maybe another planet, or if your sun or ascendant are in around those degrees in Gemini. And actually, this phase of Mercury retrograde will affect your 10th house, the area related to career, social achievements, your reputation, your work. You need to be especially careful in terms of communication with authority figures. Not a positive time for new contracts, for applying for another job or starting actually a new job. So more attention about work. The second period is between the 7th of July and the 30th. This time Mercury will be retrograde between the 5th degree in Leo and the 24th degree in Cancer. Half of the period Mercury is in your 3rd house, which requires from you to be very careful in terms of communication, working with information, traveling, technical stuff. There might be possible, unexpected situations. And during the second half of the period, Mercury goes back to 2nd house for you. This means that you need to be careful in terms of finances. Don't take important financial decisions, investments. Don't buy something expensive or something important. You need to be more wise about finances and material stuff. And the last transit, the last period of Mercury retrograde between the 31st of October and the 19th of November. This time Mercury will be retrograde in Scorpio between the 28th and the 12th degree, affecting your 6th house. Also house related to career, work, responsibilities, your daily routines, your schedule, and also your health. So you have to be careful in these areas of your life. Don't take new important decisions, or don't start brand new things which you want to be permanent or long lasting. And as you can see, this year during 2019, Mercury retrograde affects your 10th, second and sixth house. These are the three earth houses in the chart related to our social realization, our material belongings, our career and work. So during 2019, you may need to focus more or to reassess this area of your life. And for some people, this might be the time when they can make important changes, when they may, realize, wow, I dropped it, but I have another one here. So this might be a time when you can make important decisions, you can take decisions, or you can reassess this area and move to another level. So again, I repeat, Mercury retrograde cycles are more significant for you than for other people. Okay, so we've covered that slide as well. Now we can move to the Sun transits. And then we have the most positive part left, so bear with me. Okay. Okay, I see that people have liked the calendar. Thank you so much for your feedback. I hope it's helpful. I'm preparing other surprises for you guys, and I will let you know. So, yeah. Let's move to the transits of the Sun. Now, what's the difference between the Sun and Mars? They're both fire planets, which means that they can charge you with energy. They may show you area where you're active, but with Mars, it's more about effort. It's more about fighting for something. Mars can bring tensions as well. With the Sun, we talk about positive events. We talk about being excited about something, being energized to do something. So basically, these are easier transits, so to speak. And they can show you, for example, the best periods to plan your vacation, or the best time to focus on entertainments, to plan something positive, or the best times for hard work or for taking a rest. So let's start with the beginning of the year. Basically, until the 19th of January, the transit Sun is in your 8th house. That's probably one of the most complicated positions. So this might be a little bit more challenging period when, you might be concerned about more serious topics. It might be difficult to relax. You may have your own worries or doubts. You might be oversensitive, over emotional. So, you just have to accept it. We all go through this phase at certain point during the year. It's normal and it passes. Next, between the 20th of January until the 17th of February, the transit Sun is in your 9th house. One of the most positive transits, because the Sun basically will make trine with your own Sun or Ascendant, with Gemini, which is very harmonious. Especially keeping in mind that before that, the Sun has been in 8th house. Now you may feel a relief. Things might look much more positive, more optimistic, new goals, new plans for the future, more dreams, optimism, great time for traveling, great time for learning new things. Then between the 18th of February and the 19th of March, the transit Sun is in your 10th house, important transit, when you can achieve significant results. If you have some kind of important work projects, which needs to be recognized or evaluated by others, or you would like to make an impression, this is a very positive period to announce that or to focus on that, or to do whatever you can. Your efforts will be noticed by others. Your actions will be noticed by others. And generally, this is a positive time for career projects, for applying for promotions, and generally focusing on serious stuff. After that, between the 20th of March and the 19th of April, the transit Sun will move to your 11th house, which is a great time to socialize more with people, to spend more time with friends, or generally with your community, and some kind of social projects might be beneficial during this time. After that, between the 20th of April and the 20th of May, the transit Sun is in your 12th house. One of those passive periods when you have to relax, you have to slow down a little bit. A great time to make a reassessment of the past 1 year. A great time to, ask yourself what you have accomplished during the past 1 year. What would you like to leave behind you? What would you like to improve during the next one? So basically working on your own, working on your personal stuff, and just relaxing. And one of the most important transits between the 21st of May and the 20th of June, the transit sun enters Gemini and your first house. If your sun is in Gemini, actually, this will be also the time when you will have your birthday, the time when you will have your new solar return chart. So actually very important time when you may feel a significant shift of energy. You may feel more energized, you may feel more positive, more optimistic, more willing to socialize with others, to, get outside and meet with others or do something which is more visible for other people. So one of the best periods during the whole year for starting new things, for focusing on yourself, or doing your personal stuff, basically for everything which is important for you personally. After that, between the 21st of June and the 21st of July, transit sun enters second house. And it's important that here the sun will join the North Node in Cancer. So a great time to focus on material stuff, on your finances. If you are conscious about things, you may also achieve growth during this time. And I'm saying you have to be conscious because the sun represents that. The sun represents our ability to be conscious and aware what we want, what we can do. And at the same time, as we said, the North Node there shows where you can grow, where you can expand, where you can be successful. So important period about financial decisions, about your income, material stuff, personal belongings, basically all kinds of, measurable things. After that, between the 22nd of July and the 22nd of August, the transit sun will be in third house. Great time also for socializing, for new ideas, for more variety in your life, for learning new things, for traveling, and also working on your skills, improving your skills. All right, after that, between the 23rd of August and the 22nd of September, the transit sun is in your fourth house. Time to focus more on personal stuff, on your family, on your home. You can solve some, family issues or spend more time with relatives or relax more. This is also, a phase when you need to relax more. And after that, the next really positive period between the 23rd of September and the 22nd of October, when the sun is in your fifth house. Great time when you can feel more, energized, you can feel happier, you can feel more excited, more passionate about doing something. By the way, for love, for romantic dates, this is also a great period. For everything that you enjoy doing, your hobbies, some kind of sports for some people, or for others this might be spending more time with their children. Basically, you have the opportunity to enjoy your life more. After that, a more serious period between the 23rd of October and the 21st of November. The sun is in your sixth house, which changes the focus more to your obligations, your responsibilities, work, achievements, being more, practical about things. So this would be a great time for business, for work, for something, which is maybe not so fun or so, related to some kind of joy, but at the same time is important and will bring something, measurable. The Earth houses are about measurable, visible results. After that, between the 22nd of November and the 20th of December, the transit sun is in your seventh house. Great transit for relationships, for partnerships. Some people may really, find a new relationship or may improve their current relationship, or somebody else might support them in certain area. People who work in front of an audience may, have more appearances, or in some way this area of their life might be important. So one of the really significant and positive periods as well. And the last couple of days of December, after the 20th actually, the transit sun is again in 8th house. So we have the same cycle repeating again, meaning that things may not be so, so superficial for you. You may dive deep into certain topics. You may feel more serious about things. You may need your own time, and that's completely okay. So as you can see, the most positive periods are when the sun is in your 5th house, in 9th house. 10th house is also very significant. 2nd house is important because basically the sun will join the north node there. And we have only one slide left, which is about the most positive part. Okay, we have the transit of Venus. Okay. So the difference between the transits of Venus and the other planets is that this is the planet of joy. This is the planet of love and positive emotions. So when it triggers certain area of your life, it doesn't show you that you have to work for that, or that you might be tested, or that you should expect some difficulties. Actually, the opposite. It shows you where you may feel happier, you may feel more comfortable, where you may feel supported, or basically positive atmosphere and events. So this is also one of the best ways to plan important events. For example, celebrations, vacations, romantic experiences or dates. These are one of the most important and positive transits. One more thing that I think we didn't mention is the fact that Venus and Mars won't be retrograde during this year, which is great. During 2018, we had both Mars and Venus retrograde. So now we can take a rest, and that's great news. So all of those transits are basically showing Venus direct. At the beginning of the year, for a couple of days until the 6th, the transit Venus is in your 6th house, which may help you to feel more comfortable with work, to harmonize relationship with coworkers, to relax more a little bit in this area of your life. So very positive, harmonizing transit for your work. Between the 7th of January and the 2nd of February, the transit Venus is in 7th house. One of those great aspects. Let me take my red color. Okay, about Venus, I need to use the red color. Okay, so the 7th of January and the 2nd of February, Venus in 7th house, a great transit, because also Venus is the natural ruler of this house. So you can expect positive events in relationships, in your personal life, great time for dates, for spending more time with your partner. Some people may want to get married, also great harmonizing energy. After that, between the 3rd of February and the 28th, the transit Venus is in your 8th house. For relationships, this is not such a beneficial position, but it's positive for financial decisions. So this might be the time when you can, feel more comfortable in terms of the financial decisions that you can make. Then between the 3rd of February and the 28th, between the 1st of March and the 25th of March, the transit Venus is in 9th house. Very positive transit for traveling, for trips, for, going to new places, meeting new people, exploring things, basically, feeling connected with other people abroad. Very positive for traveling. After that, between the 26th of March and the 19th of April, Venus is in 10th house. Very positive for work, career achievements, improving your reputation. If you need to negotiate with authority figures or people with more power, or maybe your bosses or managers, this is also a great transit. People with a strong Venus in their chart usually can make others like them just naturally, with their attitude, with their appearance. Very often they are kind and polite. And when Venus is active in your chart in some way, maybe in the progressed chart or in the transits, even during this short time, short lasting transit, it might be easier for you to make other people like you, not to force them, but they just tend to like you more, or they can make some compromises, for example, during this time. So one of the positive periods. After that, between the 20th of April and the 14th of May, Venus is in 11th house, positive for socializing with others, spending time with friends, enjoying the company of other people, social activities, being outside with others may bring you more joy and happiness here during this period. After that, between the 15th of May and the 7th of June, Venus is in 12th house, a more passive phase when nothing so significant might be happening in terms of your personal life. This is more positive period for reassessing things, for maybe even enjoying more to be on your own, to be alone. Venus in 12th house usually makes people feel comfortable being on their own. And after that, a very big shift here between the 8th of June and the 2nd of July. Venus enters Gemini, which is your sign. Great transit, which can help you to feel more loved, to feel ready and actually willing to show your feelings, to connect with other people. Wonderful for dates, for romantic experiences, for art and creativity. Also wonderful transit for women. A great time to work or improve their appearance, haircuts, makeup, dresses, whatever you want. Basically everything which will help you to feel more attractive. You might be also more capable of making other people like you, something that we mentioned about the 10th house position. So you're just maybe more polite, kinder with others, and they just enjoy your company. After that, between the 3rd of July and the 26th, Venus is in 2nd house, joining the North Node there. Venus is the natural ruler of this house. That's why this transit is very positive for finances, for receiving some gifts or improving your material situation. Also requires focus on practical things. After that, between the 27th of July and the 20th of August, Venus is in 3rd house, very harmonizing transit for your communication with others. Great time for traveling, for trips, for negotiations, for communicating with siblings or neighbors. Also, people may enjoy your company more and may find you, attractive and nice, especially if you act nice, of course. After that, between the 21st of August and the 13th of September, Venus is in 4th house, which can make you happier when you're at home. It can harmonize relationship with family members. You may enjoy, the time which you spend at home or on your own. So emotionally, this might be a very pleasant time for you. Then the other great transit between the 14th of September and the 7th of October, Venus is in Libra, the sign of its rulership, which means Venus is very powerful, very strong, and it will make basically trine with your sign during this time. Wonderful for love, for romantic experiences, for creativity, for hobbies, for everything that brings you joy. You may feel more in love with life. You may just enjoy your life more, even if there isn't something so significant or huge changing around you. You, on an inner level, you feel happier, you feel more harmonized. So Also one of those great periods when you can plan something nice. Then between the 8th of October and the 31st, Venus is in 6th house. Basically, we are repeating those transits here from the beginning of the year. So another positive transit for career, for balancing communication or relationship with coworkers, for business negotiations, for maybe relaxing more or improving the atmosphere at your work. Then between the 1st of November and the 24th, Venus is in 7th house, great time. We will mention here the other aspects, but this is one of those great periods for relationships, for personal issues, for new dates, or expressing your feelings, or reconnecting with partners. So you may really enjoy the company of other people. They may enjoy your company as well. And something really positive may happen during those periods. Then from the 25th of November until the 19th of December, the transit Venus is in 8th house, which is positive mostly for finances, for, you know, balancing your energy, or for working, as we said, here is the south node. So you may have a clearer idea what you should separate with. So mostly about finances, this period is productive. And the last couple of days between the 20th of December and January 2020, Venus is in 9th house. So wonderful for trips, maybe for the holidays, or just to, you know, go to a different place, a new place, to explore something, for learning. One of the really positive periods. Basically, Venus makes trine with your sign here and here also during March. So very positive. And the last thing that we have to discuss, which is, I think, the most positive part, we have some lucky days or lucky combinations, planetary combinations during 2019. We have conjunction between the Sun and Venus only once during 2019, which happens on the 14th of August, 22 degrees in Leo, in your third house. You may feel the impact of this transit a couple of days before and after that, so it's not specifically only on this day, but this is the time when it is, you know, the strongest influence. A great time for traveling, great time for communicating, harmonizing communication with other people, to enjoy learning something without so much efforts probably, but, you know, something that maybe you are really interested in. So for new contacts, for negotiations, for friendships, a very positive conjunction. And also we have Venus and Jupiter in conjunction 2 times. The small and the great benefactor, Venus and Jupiter, when they are together, they can really bring you incredible positive circumstances or events or experiences. The first time it happens is on the 22nd of January, 17 degrees in Sagittarius, in your 7th house. The second time is on the 24th of November, also in Sagittarius, but this time the 29th degree, again 7th house. As you can guess, these are the greatest periods for your relationship, for your personal life. If you would like to, you know, ask someone out on a date, a wonderful time. You can meet someone, even if you are single. If you would like to start a relationship, or, you know, work on your social skills or something, go out and meet with people during this time. Surprisingly, you may meet someone new. So I think that sometimes we forget about this. Jupiter is great. Jupiter is a great benefactor. It can bring you gifts and incredible prosperity. But this is also a fire planet, which means that you have to take action. So take the initiative. If you're single and you want to be in a relationship, during those periods, go out and meet with more people. If you're currently in a relationship but you're not completely happy, try to find out what you can do to improve the relationship with your own efforts. And of course, you will have the support of the stars during the time. So, you know, it can really bring you more positive events. So these are the major things during 2019. Thank you very much for watching this video. You can always come back and rewatch the video or certain parts. There will be a video for each of the signs on my channel. After all of the videos are recorded, you will find a playlist on my channel. Also, as I promised you to explain a little bit more about the calendar, the astrology calendar, it will show you the heliacal phases of the planets. Basically, day by day, the visibility, when certain planets are visible or invisible. For you guys, this is very important because Mercury is the ruler of your sign, and Mercury is the planet which is, well, most of the time or most frequently, it's invisible. So it is important to know when Mercury is visible, because these are the periods when you can be more successful, when you can achieve more positive results. And of course, the other planets are important in their visibility according to what would you like to start, but that's a very general, very important information. Also, you will find the major aspects between the planets and their interpretation and how it can affect you and what would be positive to do or to avoid during certain dates. Also, we have ingressions of planets describing, how the energy is shifting. So I think that it will be a great help if you would like to plan your year in order to achieve, the best results. And as I said, I believe that the year will bring us the needed or the wanted opportunities, with Jupiter ruling the year numerologically, Jupiter in Sagittarius, Saturn in Capricorn. Basically, we have a great supportive energy. Okay. Thanks to everyone who write comments here. About the question about the Sun and Ascendant, so you have to, to combine them. Listen to your Sun and Ascendant sign at the same time, and you have to combine them. I have noticed also that the Ascendant may give you even more important information, especially when we talk about, for example, Jupiter transiting this house, Saturn transiting this house. According to your Ascendant, it may give you a more important information. Of course, all of the major aspects with your Sun are incredibly important, but you have to listen to both of those interpretations. Okay, so thank you very much again. As I said, you can find all of the videos. Don't forget to watch your Sun and Ascendant both, and they will be available on my channel. So thank you very much for spending your time with me. I wish you all a great 2019, and may all of your dreams come true.